Well, Godzilla and Kong are at it again. This time they're college buddies. They're not fighting each other because there's an adversary on the other end called the Scar King, and they must come together to kick major kaiju ass. And that's what we're gonna have in this movie, Godzilla x Kong. Let's review it. Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire stars Rebecca Hall, Dan Stevens, Brian Tyree Henry, and is directed by Adam Wingard. What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2024 review. I'm excited. It is Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. I'm not gonna lie, I went into this knowing that there was gonna be some really bad stuff in it, and I don't mean bad like badass, but just like there's elements of these movies that are bad, but that's part of the charm of these movies. I really enjoyed the last one. This Monster Universe, I'm surprised we're this far into. What is this, like the 4th or 5th movie now? And it started off on kind of a more of a serious note with the first Godzilla. As a matter of fact, the very first review I ever did, and I completely deleted it immediately because I was so embarrassed, because I did it in a car, was the first Godzilla, 2014. I wish I could find that video, but I think I deleted it. That should just go to show you how hard this is the first time you try it. At least it was for me. But I do regret deleting it. But that's okay, because my Predestination review, my first review, is still there for you to see how bad I was when I started. And not saying I'm great now or anything, but at least I'm more comfortable. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. But Godzilla x Kong, let's give you a quick plot synopsis. Do you really need a quick plot synopsis? This is giant kaiju monsters fighting each other. As long as you give us that and characters that aren't annoying, then you're okay.
Something is coming.
But you know what? For the sake of Adam Wingard and the people that worked really hard on this movie, and you can tell they worked really hard on this movie, I got to give you a plot synopsis. Now, I'm not going to lie. As much as I liked the last movie, I completely forgot all the human character tomfoolery that was going on. I don't remember anything about what the plot motivation was. I just know that, you know, they were trying to get King Kong from one place to another, and then he was intercepted by Godzilla. That's the only thing I remember about the last movie. But I do know in this movie, most of it takes place in Hollow Earth. They have to go down there because they receive a distress signal once they get down there. There's this tribe called the Iwi tribe. Rebecca Hall plays Eileen, and she has taken on a parent role for Jaya, who was the deaf girl in the last movie. She's getting older in this movie. There's a connection between her and the Iwi tribe. But they got to get down there, and that's where we get into spoiler territory, so I'm not going to tell you that. But we all know, if we've seen the trailer, that once they get down there, they go down there with Kong, who has a bad toothache, and they fix the toothache in the meantime. But then they get him down there. He comes upon a civilization that he's never come in contact with, but it's a group of apes. And they're about his size, sometimes smaller. And then he comes upon this Scar King, who I think looks badass. His movements are different than Kong. He doesn't look like a normal ape. He's got a little bit of a, I guess, an orangutan type vibe to him, you know? Although I don't think that's what he is. I just liked how the movements of the Scar King were quite different, and his fighting style was quite different than Kong. But if you are a Kong fan, this movie is full of great Kong action. And he really shows off how badass he is. And he takes on like multiple baddies at once and just completely slays. And as a Kong fan, I was eating that stuff up. But don't get me wrong, I'm still a fan of the big lizard, Godzilla. But I think one of the weaker moments of this movie is that I think Godzilla doesn't get as much awesome action as he did in the last movie. Don't get me wrong, there's still good fighting stuff, and we all know that Godzilla and Kong have to come together at the end of the movie. But pretty much everybody fights everybody in this movie, which is really fun. They are spaced out perfectly. I think there's just enough fight scenes, and in between, we have to see what our main characters are doing. I didn't even talk about Brian Tyree Henry and Dan Stevens. I love Dan Stevens. He was in The Guest. If you haven't seen The Guest, directed by Adam Wingard, I highly recommend it. There's a movie I want a sequel to really bad. He was so good in that. Luckily, the humans aren't annoying in this movie, and I really liked Dan Stevens and Brian Tyree Henry. I think their chemistry together was pretty good, like quite on point. There's some funny moments there between the two of them. I will say it did feel like there's a longer version, like a longer human version of this movie, because it did feel like a lot of the dialogue and a lot of what was going on with the humans, it felt like it was chopped at a certain point after each scene because we need to get back to the monster action. And in this case, it's okay because nothing that the humans were doing in this movie was going to be that gripping anyway. But at least they did what they were supposed to do and they weren't annoying, which is great. I don't need to waste your time with the human stuff, okay? I just need to tell you that the humans aren't god-awful annoying like they have been in some of these movies, like, you know, Kingdom of the Monsters. I know some of you guys like that movie. I can't stand the humans in that movie. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I like them in these last two movies. But I do love the final act, the big showdown. I think is badass. There are a couple of nice surprises, which I won't tell you about, and that is concerning monsters, which is always nice. All these movies always have a nice little surprise, you know, a little, an ace in the hole, I guess you could say. And there are a couple of moments that will hit you in the feels too, you know, usually with like King Kong, right? And I think that's when King Kong works best, is when he grabs hold of your heartstrings a little bit, and he always does, and I love the big ape. So, yeah, guys, I'm giving this one a, you know what, I'll give it a low purchase worthy. I'm being generous today. It's definitely not going to be near the best movie of the year. This is not touching Godzilla -1 whatsoever, but man, I tell you, if I'm in the mood for like just a Monsters Universe run, is that what this is called, the Monsters Universe? Because is that the Dracula and Frankenstein and all? Now I'm getting confused. What is this one called? You'll tell me in the comments. Is it Monsters Universe? Giant Kaiju? I don't know. But if I'm in the mood to run through those, then, you know, I'll have a ball watching just about all of these, right? So let me know your thoughts on Godzilla x Kong, New Empire in the comments. Looking forward to hearing them. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on all my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. You know, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Drumdum out.